tonight Barack Obama's long-awaited mission, comforting survivors of the 9/11 nightmare.
We say we will never forget. We mean what we say.
The mixed emotions of a monumental day at Ground Zero.
We've been heartbroken for 10 years.
And some surprising new details about the killing of Osama bin Laden. Calling in the troops.
They're working fast, they are so generous.
Soldiers help fight a force of nature in southern Quebec. And this is what it looks like when hope floats.
It was going to be destroyed. We had to do whatever it was going to take.
A new calling for an old church.
They're recycling a fabulous piece of history.
CTV National News with Lloyd Robertson. Reporting tonight, Lisa Lefland.
Good evening. For the first time since the September 11 attacks, the grief at Ground Zero was tempered today by a tangible sense of relief. The change in mood arrived with Barack Obama making his first visit as president. He didn't mention Osama bin Laden by name, but victims' relatives say the death of the terrorist mastermind is the best news they've heard in nearly a decade. CTV's Paula Todd has the story tonight from New York.
Barack Obama went to Engine 54 Firehouse to personally say thank you and deliver a message.
When we say we will never forget, we mean what we say.
This firehouse suffered the heaviest losses on September 11th. 15 men died that day.
I could see that the president was clearly touched by the sacrifices and by the stories that the firefighters told him.
In a city still scarred almost 10 years after the attack, Obama's visit was more than symbolic.
He acted as the commander-in-chief, and I'm very proud to be an American, and he did the right thing.
It represents something that we've been waiting for 10 years. To me, it's very important.
Under a bright, sunny sky, Obama laid a wreath of red, white, and blue flowers to honor the more than 3,000 people who died. The president prayed silently in front of the survivor tree, a pear tree that somehow kept growing after being pulled from the smoldering wreckage of the World Trade Center. Obama did not make any public comments, but spoke privately with 9/11 families.
It was just a very amazing moment in our life. He was awesome.
We've been heartbroken for 10 years. This is the first bit of good news that we got, that the murderer was brought to justice.
The solemn scene at Ground Zero was a sharp contrast to Monday night, when New Yorkers spontaneously celebrated the death of Osama bin Laden. New York Senator Chuck Schumer says it's given the nation a boost in the war on terror.
We now know we're going to win it. So we feel good about all of that, but there's a hole in New York's heart.
Obama left New York as he arrived to cheering crowds.
Obama's visit was more than a public relations victory. He built more acceptance of the killing of bin Laden, and he's reignited America's appetite to continue the fight against terrorism. Lisa?
It's true, Paula. That fight certainly does not die with bin Laden, but his death seems to have really revived Barack Obama's image. Did you feel that connection there at Ground Zero?
Absolutely. The crowds erupted. They went wild when he finally came out of the ceremony. There were shouts of 3 cheers and thank you. He has been criticized today, though, for not showing enough emotion. But the survivors, the relatives of the victims of 9/11, he met with them privately, and they said he hugged them warmly, and they believe that they saw his heart. So it's a fine line to walk, Lisa, between crass politicking and caring, but he seems to have finessed it.
An important day. Thank you, Paula Todd from Ground Zero. Tonight, well, tomorrow, the U.S. president will meet with some of the Navy SEALs who helped bring bin Laden down. Tonight, we have fascinating new details about what really happened during that raid, but it's a story that just keeps changing. With CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Paul Workman with what we know now.
The White House version of what happened in bin Laden's secret hideout went like this. Spokesman Jay Carney.
The resistance was consistent from the moment they landed till the end of the operation.
And from CIA Director Leon Panetta.
There were some firefights that were going on as these guys were making their way up the staircase in that compound.
Other U.S. officials now say there was no sustained firefight. Only one man shot at the Navy SEALs, and he was killed in the early minutes of the operation.
Some of it in the very early reports probably weren't exactly accurate, but it doesn't trouble me. That's just kind of the fog of war, and that's just the way things work.
NBC News is now reporting that bin Laden's son was killed on a stairway. And when bin Laden poked his head out to have a look, the SEALs shot and missed. Seconds later, 2 commandos stormed his bedroom, wounded his wife, and killed bin Laden with 2 shots. We're also learning more about the helicopter that had mechanical problems and had to be left behind, but only after the commando team blew it up. And why was that? Because military analysts believe the SEALs were using something rumored but never seen before, a stealth Black Hawk helicopter.
One of the things that really stands out is they have a little disc over the rotor, which is really designed both to baffle the sound and to deny radar signature.
This is what a normal Black Hawk sounds like. This is the sound of an experimental version of a stealth chopper. People in the neighborhood never heard it coming until it was directly overhead.
Officials have already analyzed some of the documents found in bin Laden's compound. They show he considered attacking U.S. rail lines to mark the 10th anniversary of 9/11, but there is apparently no evidence that plot is active, Lisa.
Showing thank you, Paul CTV's Paul Workman in Washington tonight. Well, an alleged Al-Qaeda operative was arrested today, along with 2 others, in the terror attack last week in Morocco that killed 16 people, including 1 Canadian. 21 people were also injured in the cafe bombing in the main square of Marrakesh. The 3 suspects are Moroccan nationals. No group has claimed responsibility. Days and days of rain in a rural area south of Montreal have led to flooding so severe the Army's been called in to help out. Hundreds of soldiers showed up today, and while they can't do anything about the weather, they are definitely boosting morale. CTV's Montreal Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin reports.
In the battle against the rising river, fresh troops, 650 soldiers are being deployed to the flood zone, lending a hand. Here, sandbagging to stop the water from destroying a senior's residence.
We need some help. You know, we have so many to do today.
It's a welcomed mission in friendly territory.
It's really different from Afghanistan, and it's really fun to be able to help people in our province, in our country. And
Premier Jean Charest asked for the Army's help after what he says are the worst floods since the devastating torrents in the Saguenay region in 1996.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been able to say that these floods are going to recede, but now the water's actually going up. So people are going to have to be patient, and I wish I had better news.
In some areas, the Richelieu River overflowed its banks back on April 23rd. Since the water has crept into more and more homes and businesses, and with no drinking water, no bathroom facilities, more and more are being evacuated. And while some residents have lost the fight to save their property, others want to stay to keep pumps going. But they are battle-weary. Many wish boots had hit the ground sooner, that the Army had been deployed days ago, but they welcome the extra hand.
Since today, we were filling our own bags and bringing them home. So this is the first day that we actually had some help.
In some areas, rain is expected right through until Saturday, and so there's plenty of sandbagging, plenty of work left for the soldiers to do. And once the river recedes, it will leave behind the damage, the lost homes, and the next battle, the massive cleanup operation, will begin. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Saint-Blaise-sur-Richelieu, Quebec.
People in Manitoba are still fighting back floodwaters. Rising water levels are threatening homes along the Assiniboine River west of Winnipeg, where homeowners are busy reinforcing dikes or building new ones. And in New Brunswick, the St. John River has filled its banks in low-lying areas. People in some parts were warned today they may have to leave if the situation gets any worse. Cleanup crews are facing an enormous job in northern Alberta, mopping up after one of the largest oil spills in Canadian history. A crack was discovered last Friday in the Rainbow Pipeline near Peace River, about 500 kilometers north of Edmonton. Nearly 5 million liters of oil spilled from the ruptured pipeline. That's enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Officials say the leak is contained, but people living nearby are skeptical. CTV's Janet Dirks has more.
In northern Alberta, this once pristine wilderness is now soaked with oil. 28,000 barrels of crude leak from a pipeline forming a slick 800 meters long. It's in the water and several meters deep into the ground. Those who live near the spill are worried.
I still have a headache, like it comes and goes.
In Little Buffalo, 12 kilometers from the leak, the local school remains closed after reports children were sick, nauseous, disoriented. Veronica Okamo says her 6-year-old has been asking questions.
Asked me why his legs were hurting, and he asked me if it's because of the oil.
The company, Plains Midstream Canada, concedes there is an odor, but insists it cannot find evidence that it's making people ill.
The monitors at the site have detected no hydrocarbon levels above Alberta ambient air quality guidelines.
First Nations leaders are not so convinced.
Ground's still frozen, I think the effects of it, we won't see probably till after the cleanup and beyond.
And the chiefs worry the pipeline, built 44 years ago, is simply too old.
Is this a disaster, a first one of many? Who knows?
Plains Midstream Canada says it regrets any adverse effects from the leak. So far, 6 beavers and 10 ducks have perished.
I think it is a wake-up call, and I think it highlights the cost. We can't afford to continue to pollute our rivers.
As the cleanup continues, Alberta's Premier has some strong words for the company.
We're going to hold their feet to the fire to make sure that they're there, and they will have to pay all of the costs.
An investigation is ongoing, but credit has already been given to a beaver dam for helping to contain the spill and preventing it from spreading further. Janet Brooks, CTV News, Calgary.
Time for a short break, but when we come back, Michael Ignatieff. He lost his seat, but he's found a chair. That's coming up.